A lot of you may say, no, don't tow it, drive it. Well, right now the clutch is sticking, and I'm debating inside my own head what's making the clutch stick. I originally was thinking it was going to turn out to be that hydraulic throwout bearing. And I got to think about it today. It could just be that the pressure plate is sticking on the shaft of the transmission. It slides up and down that shaft, and what happens is I'll mash the clutch, put this in gear. When I release the clutch doesn't grab. And this morning the clutch is grabbing again. Overnight it released, and I can put it in gear, and I can feel that the clutch is in gear. Yesterday I could put it in gear, push it around, it's just like it was in neutral. So I have three things that are possible that I'm thinking about. One is the little master cylinder I put on here was an aftermarket thing, and I was never real confident in it anyway, and I had kind of been kicking around the idea of taking the master cylinder that was on that Chrysler and using it for a clutch master cylinder. That's the Chrysler master cylinder with the hydraulic thing and everything on it. Or have the idea that it's the hydraulic throwout bearing. I might have said master cylinder earlier, but hydraulic throwout bearing that's sticking, and I have been told that sometimes they will stick open. Or it could be that shaft. But none of those things matter, because tomorrow I need to have this thing over at a location where we're going to do some stuff. So I decided the best way to make sure I get it there is to put the tow bar on it. And also it's the best way to move this car around. And a lot of y'all might be saying, well, you shouldn't tow a car. In reality, back in the 50s and the 60s, when boys was building hot rods, they would tow them to the Bonneville Salt Flats or down to the local drag strip with a tow bar. It was as common as anything, and nobody thought nothing about it. Back during the late 60s, early 70s, the whole street rod idea came along. That's when old hot rods started to get super expensive, and people started investing huge amounts of money into making them look like shiny glass slippers. And then folks would haul their $100,000, well, they wasn't $100,000 to start with back then, but over time they got to be that way. But folks would haul their very expensive street rod to a car show on a closed trailer and open it up and drive it out and show it, and then throw it back on the trailer and take it home. The thing hardly ever got driven on the road. That's not what this is all about. Throwing a tow bar on that just means that, let's just say, for example, they have a pretty good rat rod show, I understand, down in Massachusetts every year. And that's a long way to drive an open car with no heater and no exhaust pipes and no fenders. I don't know if you can drive a car with no fenders in Massachusetts. And a windshield wiper that's hand driven and all that stuff. But I could hook that behind something else, even another interesting hot rod, drive it down there, unhook it, and ride around, in it and come back. So there's reasons why I think having a tow bar is a good idea. Plus another thing, if I ever drive it out somewhere and that clutch messes up again, I can just hook to that tow bar and bring it right home. I don't have to call AAA or Good Sam's or anything like that. So with that said, now that I've got my bolts and everything, I'm going to bolt up my little brackets, and then I'm going to get this thing out. I might try driving it out since the clutch seems to be working right now. I'm going to pressure wash the whole car inside and out. I want to do a little painting up around this front axle brace. And I might have to mix me up some paint to do that with. And we'll go from there. Any questions, any objections, any thoughts, anything y'all got to say, just, write down your thoughts and concerns on a piece of paper, put it in an envelope, put a $100 bill in there, or a check, if the check is good, and send it to Cutworm 59 out in Arkansas. He processes all my thoughts and complaints. He's my thoughts and complaints department. Oh, there is a puddle of antifreeze here in that cat litter, and actually the only thing wrong with the water in this thing was that top clamp right there was broken. It just wasn't attached anymore. So I got another clamp put on there and closed that up and ran it a while, and I hadn't seen any sign of any leaks since then. So I'm gonna get a shovel, I think, and shovel up this cat litter and deposit it elsewhere, and then we will move on. I'll probably put all these drill bits away. I have more drill bits than most people will ever see in their lifetime, and I'm going to scoop them all up and put them back up on the shelf where they go, and clean all this up so that I can attach that tow bar. And then we'll get this thing out, drive it around, move it around, do something with it. I may just drive it out, but I do want to pull it on that just to test it, see how it pulls. Some vehicles pull well and some don't, and it really has a lot to do with how the caster and camber is set up on the front end. I towed that home. It towed real well, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, enough talking. I'll get to work. Love y'all. Say hi to your mom and them.